Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to take you through 10 muscle building myths. Now if you haven't already, I've just put together a perfect guide for you, which is 59 fitness myths, mistakes not for you to make. If you'd like to get a copy of that for free sent to your inbox, hit the link below the video. And now we'll get into the 10 tips. Tip number one of the things a lot of people think is that building muscle is about heavier and heavier weights. Now, what happens when people try to lift heavier and heavier weights is that their form goes to shit. So I can deadlift loads of weight with really bad form and just think about launching it, but that's not actually going to be conducive to purely building muscle and hypertrophy and building an aesthetic physique. Now, when it comes to aesthetics and actually building muscle, what we want to focus on is putting tension through a muscle. So the most important thing you actually want to focus on is not the amount of weight you're lifting. Firstly, it's the amount of how good your form is, your ability to put tension through a muscle, and now your ability to progress the weight you're using with the form and keeping the tension on the muscle, keeping the tempo the same, keeping everything the same. Because what happens, people try to use a heavier weight, but what they do is they let their form get worse and worse and worse. So in reality, all they're doing is they're becoming more efficient in the movement by cheating. To give you an example, people will do a dumbbell press, they'll stay wide out here, which is harder and it's going to focus more on your chest if you're going this plane of movement. Now, as people get heavier, they start to tuck in here, and we're way stronger in this range of motion, but guess what? We're not going to be using our pec fibers as much. We're going to be using a lot more of our delts, our triceps. So don't cheat yourself, don't have an ego, focus on progressing weight, but with the correct form and the correct tempo first, and that will help you build more muscle mass. Number two, people think that you need to train as often as possible to build muscle. The reality is, think of it like this. Think logically, which is what I like to apply with everything I like to teach clients. When do you actually build muscle? You don't actually build it when you're gym. Most of it's built when you're asleep. It's when you're recovering. So the key thing actually is, if you look at people like Dorian Yates, for example, who, if you head over to my YouTube channel, I've got tons of other videos with, who actually train with him, Barbell. He built one of the greatest physiques of all time. He's only trained 3 times a week, 3 hours a week, but he goes balls out. And the key thing you want to think about when it comes to building muscle is actually recovery. So that's going to be nutrition, sleep, and stress management. And then using the training when you are working out to try and create as much stimulus as possible to achieve hypertrophy, and then having the nutrition and the sleep to aid recovery and to build the muscle mass you need to build. Third mistake, people think building muscle mass can be done in a few weeks. Now you can drop body fat very quickly, however you can't build raw muscle tissue very quickly. If you want to add a significant amount of muscle, it's going to take 6 to 12 months. You cannot do that in 6 to 8 weeks. That's why I would never do like an 8-week gaining program, because the reality is in 8 weeks, you're not going to gain a lot of weight, a lot of muscle mass. Even guys who use a lot of anabolic steroids, you can't gain that much muscle that quickly. Your body can only accrue protein and build muscle tissue at a certain rate. And once that's pretty much maxed out for your genetics, it's just going to be staying in that growth phase for as long as possible, which is essentially going to be coming down to keep you in a calorie surplus and keeping body fat down. Number 4, people think supplements are the key to building muscle mass. So things like pre-workouts, creatine, carbohydrate drinks, glutamine, amino acids. Now, yes, all these things help, but the giveaways in the word, supplement. These are to supplement your diet. So if you take all these supplements, you take all the supplements you want, if you take all the steroids you want in the world, if your nutrition is poor and you haven't got enough protein, you're not in a calorie surplus, your body will not have the raw building blocks to accrue protein and build new muscle tissue. So the most important thing you want to focus on when building muscle is these 3 things. Sleeping, recovery, stress management, obviously stimulus from training, and then also obviously your nutrition being on point, having enough protein, and being a calorie surplus. Next tip is when women build muscle, they become masculine. Now this couldn't be further from the truth. Most of the guys watching this, if there's a girl who goes to the gym you like, she's going to have like nice glutes, legs, whatever. That's going to be muscle tissue she's built from working out and lifting weights. She's not done that from going on a cross trainer or being a marathon runner. Now, that's just a fact. Women lifting weights doesn't make them masculine, it actually creates a sculpted physique. So women out there who are scared of building muscle and becoming too masculine, I've been trying for a very long time, I still look very feminine. Comment below if you agree. And it's not going to happen. So the only thing that happens with women becoming masculine is obviously when they go down the route of using performance enhancing drugs or anything like that. Now that's a completely different YouTube video and different conversation. But when it comes to just weight training and resistance training and building muscle tissue, that does not make women masculine, and that's a completely big myth that needs to be debunked. Next big myth is that women need to train differently than men. Now, I disagree with this in the respect that women actually need to train basically exactly the same as men. The only thing I would maybe change is some chest training movements. They don't really need to be doing flat pressing as much for obvious reasons. But other than that, they want to be training heavy, want to be staying in the same rep ranges, same sort of volume, nothing should really be changing too much in terms of differences, in my opinion. You might just focus a little bit more on women in terms of like glutes and hamstrings, because they want to focus maybe more on their lower body than maybe men do. Men don't tend to want to build their glutes as much. But generally, in terms of overall training style, you want to be using the same rep ranges, same intensity techniques, same tempo. All those things remain the same to get the end results we're looking for. A very common thing I hear for the next myth is if you can't build muscle mass, it means you're a hard gainer. Now, think about it like this. If you've got muscle anywhere on your body, then that means you have the ability to build muscle mass. That doesn't mean you're a hard gainer. It means you don't know how. So most importantly, that's probably going to mean you don't know how to execute the movements correctly to create a novel stimulus. Or secondly, your nutrition isn't in line with your goals to build muscle tissue. So if you don't have enough protein or enough calories, again, as I said earlier in the video, you won't have enough raw ingredients to build and construct the beautiful physique you're looking for. Another big myth is people think you need to train to failure all the time. Now, failure is relevant, and failure technically, like if someone put a gun to my head and was like, do another rep or I'm going to shoot you, I'm probably going to do another rep in reality. So going to true failure is actually never really going to be safe. We want to be going to relative failure with correct form. All you need to do is creating a stimulus. So with that, we need to be trying to maybe beat what we did before would be a good place to look at. But you don't need to train till you're absolutely going to die. And one of the big things that we teach clients is how to get the most out of movements. And what I'd say to you is, how about this? How about you don't have to train any harder, but you get way more results? How does that sound? Comment below if you'd be interested, but that's basically what we teach people, is how you can work out, not actually have to train any harder, yet you get way faster progress, which is basically living the dream. So that's 10 muscle building myths all wrapped up. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to get my 59 fitness myths, mistakes you don't want to be making, and tips I can help educate you, hit the link below this video and you can have that in your inbox for completely free. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you in the next video very soon.